Thursday, which means Thursdays with John Macaroon joining the show. Welcome to the show, John. Publisher All Lions and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. John, how you feeling this morning? Big game this weekend. It feels like this week is just, you got Michigan winning the national championship. You got Rams at Lions. Like storyline galores. Just a ton of them.
Absolutely, boys. I'm pumped. Perma-smile. I've been excited since it was announced that the Lions were playing the Rams. It's been a great week. Everybody's into it. Even the Matthew Stafford, Kelly Stafford nonsense. Everybody's into everything going on. Look, we've waited a long time for this opportunity. First time at Ford Field. The fans are going to go crazy. It's well-deserved for this football team to host a home playoff game. I'm pumped. Can't wait to talk about it. I'm more hopeful than I've ever been. I think the Lions are going to put forth their best effort, like you boys are saying, and it's going to be a culmination of a great season.
I want to ask you, because the biggest storyline of the quarterbacks is Matthew Stafford returning to Ford Field, and you have Jared Goff facing the Rams. At least for Jared, in kind of the path to victory for the Lions. You see some of these comments too. People bet on the Rams, the money line, the spread, and trust me, I've been high on the Rams all year. I didn't think the Lions would play them, so now it's a little different. Now I got to walk a little back and be like, well, here's how the Lions can beat the Rams, even though I'm hyping up the Rams. But to you, what's the path to victory for the Lions, and how tough of a matchup is this, facing one of the hottest teams in the NFL?
Yeah, supremely tough. I think the fan base is going to go on an emotional roller coaster on Sunday. If you're at home, I've been saying it all week, pop your Xanax. Maybe take two of them. Pop your Xanax and get ready. This one's going to be close. I think that when you look at it, it's two evenly matched teams. Two teams that don't have a lot of playoff experience. Yeah, there's some veterans on both sides, namely the quarterbacks. And I think the pathway for victory for the Detroit Lions is to get after Matthew Stafford. You realize that offense is potent with Nakua and Cooper Kupp. So for the Detroit Lions, I had a chance to talk to Charles Harris yesterday in the locker room. And I asked him, I said, hey, you got a quarterback in Matthew Stafford, gets the ball out quick. And he said, yeah, Matthew's a legend, but the bull rush maybe is not going to be the technique in the fact that Stafford gets the ball out. At times, you got to take calculated risks, but the coverage and the pass rush for the Detroit Lions have to come. Aiden Hutchinson has to deliver. Hopefully he's riding high this week in a great mood. Will continue his streak of solid play. You got to disrupt the Rams offense. You can't let them get into rhythm. And I think that Matthew Stafford is primed to throw the Lions a couple interceptions. In big games, it always comes down to those obviously finer points. Who commits the less mistakes? Who pays more close attention to details? And I think it's going to be the Lions. Having this game at Ford Field means so much to this football team. And I think the Lions are going to bring it, and they're going to play a very clean and detailed game.
All right, John, so I want to go to the Rams defense versus the Lions offense. Is there anything the Rams do defensively, any matchups, any players that you think could give the Lions trouble, or do you think the Lions are going to, for the most part, be able to, I don't want to say score at will, but put up a lot of points?
Yeah, it's when you look at the defense, you obviously are going to pay attention to Aaron Donald and Kobe Turner. Had a chance also yesterday, got around the locker room, scooted around, in an important week, talked to Jonah Jackson. I said, hey, man, you got a tough week. You got Aaron Donald and Kobe Turner on your side. And he smiled and he said, John, this is what we live for. It's a contract year. I got to show my stuff. And this is what this football team is excited. Yeah, you want to be concerned with Jared Goff because he's a statue. And just like any quarterback, in the face of pressure, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, their QBR rating goes way down. So if the offensive line brings it, I expect Jared Goff to be able to move the football. You realize that even without Sam Laporta, if he's not available, the Lions have a lot of weapons to be able to move the football. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs could break out. You know Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to bring it. You also realize maybe still underrated, but still a solid piece is David Montgomery in the red zone, a guy that when he gets going behind this offensive line is going to be an integral part of this offense. So I think the Lions, when you look at the Rams defense, you can get them through the air. But at the same time, the Detroit Lions are a football team that always wants to establish the run and be able to move the football. But the offensive line better keep Jared upright, because if you start seeing Jared Goff scrambling, panic, because it's going to be a nightmare and there could be some mistakes.
John, my mind goes when I first started breaking down this matchup. My number one concern, it starts with this Lions secondary, because it seems like over the last handful of games, and there's been games all season, they just can't stop a number one wide receiver. It is what it is. They just can't. And now you're getting help back. You get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. We'll see what James Houston. You nailed it. The pass rush is everything, John, because it's not just a number one wide receiver. They got a Triple Crown winner and a guy who just broke the rookie receiving record. This is different. It's not like it's similar last week in some ways. You have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, but these guys are to me, Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in football, but this one, they're both great. Where are you at with just the matchup, those two receivers versus this secondary? Because I think that could change the game to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Aaron Glenn has openly said it. The Lions defense are not the 85 Bears. They're not going to shut out the Rams. What the Lions defense is going to hope for is, look, you realize, okay, all year long, receivers have been able to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. Stafford will make plays. You will see Cooper Kupp with some explosives. Nakua is looking like now he's going to be a special wideout. But in the end, what has to happen is when in the bend don't break style of defense is if the Rams get into the red zone, you limit them to field goals. And look, I think that the addition of C.D. Deuce to this defense, hopefully James Houston and Ali McNeil stepping it up even further, you realize that for Aaron Glenn, you got to take calculated risks and pressure Matthew Stafford at just the right time. Two key players as well outside of the secondary, Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone. If they're able to stop the run and do their business, and look, really in the end, it's basic fundamental football that you allow obviously stuff underneath, and tackling is important where you limit those guys to 5-6 yards potentially. And then really in a game like this, how you want to approach it is on first down, you want to make it so that the Rams offense has to get behind the chains. And so you're hoping that you don't get into too many third and short situations. If you can do that, you really play from an advantage. But look, man, it's the NFL. I think Sunday primetime, it's going to be, I think, conducive to a high-scoring game. And just like the Lions have done, limit the points. It doesn't look pretty, but in the end, they make the plays when needed. If you can limit the touchdowns, I think that your offense can do enough to get you the W.
So I want to talk very briefly about Kyren Williams, the Rams running back, who I would say has given Matthew Stafford his best running game that he's probably ever experienced as a quarterback, at least in terms of a number one running back. Should Lions fans, or should we be concerned at all about Kyren Williams, or do you think it's going to be another case of the Lions defense just whenever they go up against a good running back, they pretty much just get nothing and like it? Is it going to be the same with Kyren Williams, or is he a concern?
That's the mission. You've seen it on film. When Kyren Williams does not get 100 yards, Rams don't win. So that's the plan, is to be stout against the run, and I have full confidence that will happen. Key player Jack Campbell has been solid when you look at his PFF numbers. You realize that the defensive line has been stout. I think John Kaminsky getting that rest bodes well. So there's reasons to be confident. I just think that at times I understand when people look at Aaron Glenn's defense, sometimes gives too much cushion, doesn't at times adapt as best as many people would like. But I do have confidence that the back end is going to make plays. And guys, big time players make big time plays. And a guy to pay attention to is Brian Branch. I think that with Cooper Kupp maybe getting some run in the slot, you realize Brian Branch will have a nice opportunity this week maybe to get his hands on the football. With Kyren Williams, yeah, he's obviously a great running back. But I do think that the Lions are going to keen in on making sure that you try and make Matthew Stafford be pressured and be very uncomfortable at Ford Field. Alex Anzalone said it. He said, hey, here's the challenge, guys, and you're going to read about it. Don't cheer when after the fact when the Rams are breaking the huddle. Cheer loudly and be disruptive as the Rams are huddling, because that will make it nearly impossible for the Rams and to potentially disrupt the Rams offense. So it's going to be great to see, man. Aaron Glenn, hey, if you're going to earn one of these head coaching jobs, then you got to bring it this Sunday against the Rams offense, man. They're going to try and do some things.
And I don't want to discount the impact that Laporte has. He's one of the best tight ends in the league as a rookie. But, John, my argument to that And I get why people would be concerned because he's your number 2 wide receiver technically. But at the same time, this is a similar team that last year went 8-2 without Sam Laporta. I still have a confidence that this team could still win on Sunday with the Brock Wright, with the James Mitchell. Where are you at with Sam Laporta? What's your guess? I know Dan hasn't officially confirmed if he's going to play or not, but where are you at with Sam? You think he'll play? And if let's just say he doesn't, where's your confidence level at for this Lions team?
Yeah, my guess would be that he doesn't play. I think that you do have to also look at the long-term future. You don't want to risk further injury. I think it's truly 50-50 at this point. I think it was great and encouraging that Dan Campbell said it's a matter of days, not weeks. So we'll know more Thursday and Friday if Sam practices. He didn't practice on Wednesday. But, yeah, it's a big blow. No doubt about it. Sam Laporta really emerged as a really solid target for Jared Goff and a security blanket. But at the same time, you still can sprinkle in other weapons. And guess who's back? Jamison Williams is going to be somebody that maybe now can get targeted a little bit more, get that 1 or 2 explosive plays to open up the offense for the Lions. I think if the Lions can get a couple explosive plays, man, that just really bodes well for Jared Goff. So I think that the Lions have enough. Yeah, obviously you would love to have Sam Laporta. I think that would give people a lot more comfort. But I'm going into this game hopeful that the Lions and their coaching staff, who have a plethora of experience, are going to have this football team well prepared. Just the mood in the locker room's calm. Everybody's ready to go. They're not making it too much of a big deal. And one player I did talk to as well, James Mitchell. He's going to have an opportunity. I think that, remember, that I know that 2/3 of the year he didn't get a lot of targets. But, look, all year long, what have you seen? And all you can do is go on film. The next man up mentality. I know in years past, when a guy went down, that was it. The roster had no depth. James Mitchell told me, hey, it's an opportunity. And anytime a player gets an opportunity, maybe even with Brock Wright, that's why I think the Lions haven't gone out and signed Zach Ertz, is that they believe, look, our system is draft and develop. And just because a key player goes down does not sink the Lions season. And I'm truly confident this coaching staff will have this team ready. I'm not scared. I'm not sounding alarms like some people will. I just watched a football team win 12 games, tight games. Dan Campbell says scarred to perfection. I've been scarred to perfection. I'm ready to see this football team win late. Will my heart rate be very high in a close game? Of course, naturally. But in the end, the Lions have showed you they'll make plays when they need to, and it's going to be tight. But this team's going to win. This team's going to win this game.
And the last question for you, John. You see all the stuff, and I know you see it too. The Stafford, you're banned from wearing Stafford jerseys, which that should just be an obvious thing. You shouldn't be wearing a Stafford jersey on Sunday. But people, and I've seen people talk about this, and I actually agree with it, that we focus the conversation this week on Stafford, that we kind of forget Goff and like how much motivation he has to face the Rams. I know he's faced them already in the regular season, but this is different. He has an opportunity to bring a playoff win to Detroit, first time in over 30 years. Where are you at with just that storyline for Goff? And of course, this could be one of those games that, again, cement him potentially as a franchise quarterback for the Lions for long term.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, I kind of came up, made my chops in the Detroit Sports Podcast by being one of the people that was the loudest against Matthew Stafford. Far too many Matthew Stafford nut huggers throughout his tenure. He brought you shit. Nothing. After 5-6 years, anybody with a rational brain would have said, let's move on from Matthew Stafford. And I literally took so much heat for years because my stance was, oh my goodness, why are the Lions going to pay Matthew Stafford $25 million? Everybody online was like, you got to pay it. You got to pay it. That's the going rate for a quarterback. But my mindset was, I have a simple question. Is Matthew Stafford going to bring you anything in this run that he's going to have? My answer was no. It's clear. Throws too many picks, is not mobile, and I think that he's a player that is going to give you heartbreak. Now, did I think he was going to quit on the team? No. But I thought that Matthew Stafford was a total waste of time in Detroit. So now, oh, great, everybody can say, oh, he went out and won a Super Bowl somewhere else. That does jack shit for me here in Detroit. So I recognized pretty early on that Stafford, it wasn't going to happen here. So they moved on. Unfortunately, they went and got a clone. They got the same guy. And it's unfortunate in that I look at it like this. Jared Goff's a good quarterback, will win you big games, can do some things. But at the same time, I'm looking at the way the league goes, and I think that you need a quarterback that can be elusive in the face of pressure. Now, maybe Jared Goff will prove me wrong. I hope he does. I was the one that first asked Jared Goff when he got into town, hey, do you got a chip on your shoulder for being traded to Detroit? You know, you're traded to this situation. And he said, yeah, I got a chip on my shoulder. And that's the best thing that ever happened to Jared Goff, was being cast aside, being called a nobody, being called a throw-in. So he's got the ultimate motivation. But in the end, he's got to step his game up. He's got to do things and be comfortable in the face of pressure, some things that he's not good at. So can he do it? Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Would I predict it? No. I think the Lions are definitely they got the bridge quarterback that they absolutely needed, the perfect one. But this is an opportunity for him to go out there and show it, manage the game. But guys, look, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jared Goff throws turnovers, fumbles the football. That's been his MO in big games. So you hope he turns it around. You hope that the narrative changes for Jared Goff. But I think that the love fest for Matthew Stafford was out of pocket and out of order, because the man brought you nothing. He was a loser in Detroit. And I just thought that this fan base that still wears the jersey, why are you supporting losers? We support winners here in Detroit.
Damn, John. Just dropping bars on the morning. This is why Thursdays are John.
We kind of needed this energy this week, though,
Yeah,
because
we did.
Stafford is the enemy, and you were more
Absolutely.
candid. You were more candid about it than anybody that I, even on this network, on any show that I've partaken in listening to. So, good for you, John. That was a nice little
And
soliloquy.
to your point, John, about Jared Goff, if there's anybody you want a fire under their ass for, to me, it's Jared. Like, and that's for a lot of professional athletes, but for him playing with this fire, I kind of like it. So we'll see what kind of Jared we get on Sunday. Thanks, John, a lot. You can check out all Lions, Rams stuff on Publisher. He's also a publisher of all Lions. You can check out his stuff. And I'm sure I'm not going to ask for a score prediction. I know you'll have it for the people. I learned my lesson the first time I asked you. But, John, thank you so much. We'll see you next Thursday. Hopefully we can recap a playoff win. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Guys, enjoy the moment. And I just think that this is something that the Detroit Lions have been waiting for. It'll be really topping off what I think is going to be a special season. Feed me Lions, Cowboys 2. I need it. I think the Lions win, and Dan Campbell makes his bones, man. Winning in the playoffs is so key, and I can't wait to see it. I'll be there.
No question. All right. Appreciate you, John. You can check him out, too. He's a host of the Detroit Sports Podcast.